No, because I am sick of looking at these bums, sick of listening to their excuses.
Great bill. It'd be such a shame because that seems to be the thing that everybody else is talking about more than top of the bill.
Well, he's pissed off. I mean, he was a big fight. He's trained very hard. If you don't fight, you don't get paid. You imagine the cost involved in a training camp. You know, booking places to set the camp up, bringing the sparring partners in, the nutritionists, the chefs, the trainers, and everybody, and you don't get paid. It's a massive loss. You can't insure it, or if you do, it costs a fortune to insure. But very, very disappointing.
Moses Itauma isn't pulling any punches, verbally or in the ring. In the build-up to his clash with Dillian Whyte, the young, unbeaten powerhouse has gone straight for the jugular, branding Whyte a quitter who will bolt the moment things get rough. Moses isn't just throwing shade.
Be like, yeah, man, we just prepare for everything. How can you prepare for everything? Like, that's not. It's not gonna work.
For the sake of hype, he's targeting Whyte's shaky recent form, those brutal stoppage losses, and the clear reality that the man once feared as a relentless brawler is no longer the same fighter. This isn't the Dillian Whyte of old, Moses says with a cold, surgical tone. He's here to expose him, not respect him. Itauma sizes his opponent up with.
I think it's gonna be a complete different version of Dillian. I reckon he's gonna try to box me. Because obviously he's lost the weight, so obviously he's not going to try and knock me out or like try to bang me out in like the first couple rounds. And obviously he's not going to want to have to tear up with me because you can't do that for 10 rounds.
Calm precision, predicting that YT will enter the fight with a safety-first, overly cautious approach. But then comes the real hammer blow. If he thinks he can pull out now, he better start running, because I'm coming. This isn't a game. It's a lesson in what quitting really looks like. It's confidence wrapped in a warning, a message to Whyte and anyone else watching that the tricks and excuses of the past won't work here. And just when the verbal heat seems to have peaked, Tyson Fury jumps in.
And Whyte don't want to fight. So if you can prove me wrong, get to fucking fighting. You pair of cowards. You're all cowards. You're all bumdossers. Either fight or do one. You pack of wetlands.
With his own savage assessment of YT's willingness to fight, Fury doesn't mince his words, branding Whyte a coward and a wet lettuce, clearly fed up with the endless cycle of explanations and delays. Dillian's always ducking, always running, Fury says. A real fighter stands and fights, but he collects excuses.
What's the distance? Land that left hook, get his jab working, try and walk Moses down. Try and expose his
like trophies. It's a damning take and one that mirrors the mood among many fans. Once upon a time, YT had a reputation as a fearless contender. Now the perception is shifting, hunger gone, courage in question. Gareth A. Davies, usually one of YT's stauncher defenders, tries to push back on the
How long does Moses need? If he comes out of this unscathed, if he's in a war, then he's going to need some time. But that's a terrific fight. It's an absolutely terrific fight. As we know, there's been a
Twitter narrative, but even he can't fully mask the truth in his tone. Deep down, Davies admits he's seen the same pattern everyone else has. Every time the spotlight hits, he disappears. Gareth hints, before adding that YT's recent talk of rest and stepping back might be smoke and mirrors. It wouldn't surprise me if Dillian pulls out of this fight. He's done it before, and he's always looking for a way out. That lingering doubt says it all. Moses may not have to beat YT in the ring. The fight could be won simply by showing up.
Get out, you're a disgrace to the sport as far as I'm concerned. But there's so many grey areas. Is it contamination? Is it an adverse? Is it a wrong finding? Is there something wrong with the, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but it's just really, really frustrating from a boxing fan's point of view, somebody who works within the industry. This fight was
up ready while YT hesitates. Froch adds fuel to the fire. His words cut deep because they come from a fighter who's lived at the top. Froch calls YT's career in recent years a circus of excuses, failed build-ups, and letdowns. The jab lands hard. Dillian talks big, but when it's time to step in, he vanishes. Real fighters face the fire, not run from it. Fans aren't just disappointed anymore. They're starting to see Whyte as a man who talks his way into big nights, then disappears when the heat rises. Clinton McKenzie takes it even further. For him, this isn't just about boxing, calling Whyte's behavior a professional embarrassment and a personal shame. McKenzie frames it as a betrayal, not only to fans, but to Whyte's own father. That stings on a different level. It's about legacy.
It's just wrong, in my book. But you know what? I also think that, you know, what he's done, it's like a slap in the face for his dad.
Family pride and the image a fighter leaves behind. Whyte has already given fans enough reasons to question his discipline. Failed opportunities, half-hearted training camps, and that familiar retreat when things get ugly. Now McKenzie is saying the damage could be permanent and personal. Meanwhile, Moses Itauma is everything Whyte isn't right now. Disciplined, hungry, and carrying a spotless reputation that screams future champion. The contrast is brutal. When they step into the ring, Moses won't just be aiming to beat Whyte. He'll be looking to humiliate him in a way that makes these criticisms impossible to ignore. And if McKenzie's assessment wasn't harsh enough, Johnny Nelson throws his own grenade into the conversation. Nelson dismisses the entire poisoning scandal swirling around Whyte as pure fake news. His skepticism is rooted in history. How many times have we heard wild excuses pop up around Whyte's career when things go wrong? One fight postponed for training issues.
A lot of stuff was going on about some poisoning, scandal, foolishness, and they tried to shut this thing down. And I'm saying that's fake news. I'm not having that. So let's wait and see. If it's true, that's a shame. You'll have to get to the bottom of it. But
Another derailed by misunderstandings, now whispers of conspiracies. At some point, Nelson says, it stops being bad luck and starts being a pattern. Nelson's frustration is the same one felt by fans who've watched this soap opera drag on for far too long. While Whyte is busy spinning narratives, Moses is smashing opponents, building his record, and keeping his name free of controversy. That's the difference between a fighter on the rise and one on the decline. When the bell rings, there will be no fake news, no excuses, just truth. And the truth might be that Whyte's days of controlling the narrative are over. Adam Smith frames the bout in a different light, calling it part of Moses' education. But he's quick to add that Itauma enters as the heavy favorite for good reason. 12 fights, 12 wins.
So whatever happens next Saturday with Moses Itauma, it's all part of the education. I think obviously he starts as a favourite because of his form. He's undefeated in 12, 10 knockouts, perfect record as an amateur. And I've said many times what I love about Moses is the fact that other great heavyweights talk about him in such glowing terms.
10 knockouts. That's not just form, that's dominance. Add a perfect amateur record and glowing praise from elite heavyweights, and you have a young fighter who's not just talented, but respected. Compare that to Whyte's recent bruising losses, ongoing fitness concerns, and his reputation for folding under real pressure, and the picture becomes clearer. Smith sees this as a two-way education. If Whyte dares to press forward, we'll see how dangerous Moses can be when challenged. If Whyte fights cautiously, Moses will dismantle him anyway, proving that experience means little against raw hunger and skill. Fraser Clark, for his part, is cautiously optimistic about Moses' chances, warning against overexcitement. But Clark also notes that Itauma's composure in the ring is one of his standout traits.
I don't know Moses personally, I've spoken to him a few times, but I think he's definitely a man for the occasion. And I do think, with him being a headliner, I hope he doesn't get too excited and not do his usual job. But I think we wanted to make a statement, and I think he's well capable of doing that.
He dismantles opponents with clinical precision, fighting like a calculated destroyer rather than a reckless brawler. Whyte, in contrast, enters with the baggage of recent humiliations, questionable stamina, and a style that's lost its sharp edge. Clark's prediction that this could end early feels grounded in reality. Moses is faster, sharper, and more disciplined. If Whyte tries to survive, Moses will pick him apart. If he tries to stand and trade, he'll get put to sleep. Clark says. Either way, this is Moses' moment. Simon Jordan agrees, and puts the intrigue in perspective. No one has truly troubled Moses yet, which is why some are curious to see how he handles a big name. But Jordan is blunt. YT is no longer the kind of fighter who can genuinely test him. The legs are slower, the chin's been cracked, and the hunger is gone. Jordan warns that if Moses blasts him out early, critics will try to down
Moses Itauma. I mean, Dillian is a former elite fighter. We're going to see if he's still an elite fighter, but we're also going to learn a little bit more about Moses, because if Moses goes in and blasts him out in 2 or 3 rounds, I don't know what we make of it, but what we want to see is Dillian put it upon Moses and see what the reaction is, because no one has done it.
Play it by saying, well, YT was finished anyway, but that misses the point. Every big name Moses takes down builds the psychological aura that future opponents will have to deal with. And if YT does somehow come forward with aggression, Moses has the perfect chance to show not just his power, but his adaptability under pressure. That's the separator between hype jobs and genuine future champions. Adam Smith drills deeper into the technical nightmare YT faces. Moses combines speed and power in a way that turns good fighters into great ones. A slick southpaw who moves like a middleweight but hits like a full-blown heavyweight is trouble for anyone, let alone an opponent whose footwork and reactions have slowed. The awkwardness Smith highlights isn't just about stance, it's about rhythm. Moses doesn't fight in predictable
He was a serious fighter, former world champion as well. And you showed a lot of character in that fight. And for me, I think that was the moulding of Nick Ball to go on and become, you know, the champion that you've become.
Yeah, definitely, because he's a solid opponent, isn't he? And, you know, I feel like in that one as well, it showed me boxing.
Patterns. He baits, shifts, and fires punches his opponents never see coming. YT's vulnerability to sharp counters is well documented, and Moses' timing could exploit that flaw brutally. Add the fact that Itauma is still improving at a rapid pace, and you've got a fighter who could overwhelm YT physically and mentally. If Moses dominates here, it won't just be another win. It will be a declaration. The heavyweight future is already here, and his name is Moses Itauma. When the dust settles on fight night, this won't just be another entry on the heavyweight calendar. It's a clash between an undefeated force on the rise and a fading name clinging to relevance. For Moses Itauma, victory isn't simply about adding Dillian Whyte to his record. It's about sending shockwaves through the division, proving he can dismantle big names with the same ruthless efficiency he's shown against every other opponent. A win here cements him as the face of boxing's next era, a fighter with the speed, power, and mindset to dominate for years to come. For Dillian Whyte, this is nothing short of a last stand. If he shocks the world, he resurrects a career many believe has already passed its sell-by date, silencing critics who call him a quitter, a ducker, and a man who runs when the fire gets hot. But if he falls, especially if the loss is brutal and early, his legacy will be defined not by his past glories, but by this downfall. Right now, Moses looks sharper, hungrier, and far more dangerous. YT seems weighed down by history and doubt. The stakes are clear. Pride, reputation, and the chance to either launch a career into superstardom or drag one back from the brink. This is the kind of fight where one man leaves with everything, and the other leaves with excuses. So here's the question, are you backing Moses Itauma to usher in the new heavyweight era, or do you believe Dillian Whyte's got one last shock left in him?